My brother locked me out of our father's house, so I took him to court and found out the truth. After my father died, my brother promised we'd split everything 50-50. After my father died, my brother promised we'd split everything 50-50, just like the will said. But when he changed the locks and shut me out, I knew something was wrong. The door that never opened. My father passed away a few months ago. His will was clear, everything would be split equally between me and my older brother, let's call him John. That included the house, my mother's heirlooms, and my father's priceless antique collections. John had been living with our dad for years, supposedly helping him. I lived in another town with my spouse and our kid. Even so, I never imagined that after Dad's death, I'd be shut out of his house, my house now, too. I first noticed the red flags when John started dodging every attempt I made to visit. Not a good time. House is a mess. Don't worry, I'll handle it and give you your share. Weeks passed. Then months. And I still hadn't set foot in the home I grew up in. What made my blood run cold was the thought of my mom's jewelry, heirlooms she specifically wanted me to have. Dad kept them safe for years. John already sold his portion long ago. And now? He wouldn't even let me inside. I tried to stay calm. Tried to be understanding. Grief makes people act strange. Maybe he needed time. Maybe he felt possessive because he lived there. Maybe I was just being paranoid. But deep down, I knew it. Something wasn't right. Studio microphone, I thought he was grieving. But when I talked to one of my dad's old friends, I realized John wasn't just locking me out. He was selling off the past, piece by piece. The lie behind the door. It started with a simple conversation. I called one of Dad's close friends, M, a fellow antique collector. I asked if he'd heard anything from John lately, just casually, trying not to raise alarm. But M hesitated. Then he said, "Actually, John asked if I wanted to buy your dad's grandfather clock." A couple weeks after the funeral. I froze. That clock was Dad's pride and joy. He once said he wanted us to keep it in the family. And John told M that I approved the sale. That was a lie. I started digging, checking online marketplaces where Dad used to sell antiques. And there it was, one of his vintage guitars listed by a seller with a username John used everywhere. I showed my spouse. They didn't even hesitate. He's selling everything. I called John. No more waiting. He denied it. Then got defensive. Then admitted. Yeah, I sold a few things, to cover the house expenses. Property tax. Repairs. Utilities. You name it. But there had been money in Dad's bank account. Why wasn't that being used? Why hadn't we discussed this? He acted like he was doing me a favor. You don't understand what it takes to keep this place going. I reminded him. You chose to stay there. That doesn't give you the right to sell off our inheritance without talking to me. He said I was being selfish. I said I was coming over. You better let me in. He grumbled something. No confirmation. But I cleared my schedule. Took time off work. My spouse was coming with me. We were done playing nice. Studio microphone, I told him I was coming, and I meant it. But when we arrived, the locks had been changed. And my brother was inside, refusing to open the door. Locked out of my own legacy. The morning we arrived, I had hope, small, fragile hope, that maybe he'd come to his senses. He didn't. My old key didn't work. He had changed the locks. We rang. Knocked. Waited. His car was there. The TV was on. He just refused to answer. Eventually, I called him. He picked up. You're not coming in, he said. You're not gonna rummage through everything and just take half. I reminded him, again, that this wasn't his house. It was ours. And everything inside? Ours, too. You'll get your share, he snapped. After I've handled the expenses. Expenses he never once explained. Items he never once asked to sell. He was treating our father's legacy like his own personal garage sale. He hung up on me. That was the moment I knew. This wasn't grief. It was greed. I called the lawyer who handled Dad's will, let's call him Lawyer A. After I explained everything, his tone shifted. You have legal right to access that home. And if he's selling assets without your consent? You may need to involve law enforcement. He told me to document everything. Get legal representation. And if necessary, show up with a locksmith and the police. So that's what I planned. I sent John a formal letter, warning him. Let me in, or I'll come back with the law. He didn't respond. He didn't need to. Because 2 days later, I did exactly what I said I would. Studio microphone. I walked into the home I hadn't seen since the funeral, and it felt like a ghost town. My father's treasures, gone. My mother's jewelry, vanished. And what I found next made my blood run cold. The empty house and the broken trust. I returned to the house with a locksmith, my new probate attorney, and a police officer for civil standby. John wasn't there. Part of me was relieved. I didn't want a scene, I wanted the truth. The locksmith opened the door. I stepped into silence. And what I saw broke something in me. The display cabinets were empty. Dad's antique clocks, gone. The shelves where his vintage cameras once sat, bare. The framed coin collections? Just faint outlines left on the walls. In the study, Dad's locked drawer, the one he always joked held his retirement fund, had been pried open. The lock hung loose. All the watches were missing. Including the one passed down from our grandfather. Then I went to Mom's old room. Her jewelry box? Empty. Her wedding ring. The locket with childhood photos of me and John. All of it, gone. The vintage guitars, Fender, Gibson, Rickenbacker, also missing. Even the ornate furniture that held Dad's clocks had disappeared. We found drawers left half open. Rooms ransacked. It looked less like a home, and more like a robbery. But it wasn't a stranger. It was my brother. We did recover a few things. A box of old photo albums. Dad's military medals. Papers showing John may have taken out a loan against the house without my knowledge. I called him that night. No answer. Later, he texted. I'll make it right. Just don't ruin my life over this. We can talk. But I was done talking. We filed suit, theft of estate property, breach of fiduciary duty. We asked the court to remove him from any executor role. To force the sale of the house. Because I wasn't just going to lose my father's possessions. I wasn't going to lose my rights, too. Studio microphone. We went to court. And when the judge heard what my brother had done, his reaction was swift. Justice was coming, but not without a cost. Justice, but at what price? Court wasn't a battle. It was a reckoning. The evidence spoke louder than I ever could. Listings with John's online alias selling Dad's collectibles. Empty jewelry boxes, broken locks. Documents showing he tried to pull a loan against the estate. John had no real defense, just excuses. I needed money. I was preserving the house. I wanted to keep it in the family. The judge didn't buy a word of it. Verdict? He had breached fiduciary duty. He owed me compensation for the stolen property, for legal fees, and for damages. But here's the thing. Most of the money? Gone. Spent. Wasted. He claimed it went into the house, or paying off debts, but who really knows? So, to satisfy the judgment, we had to take the next step. Force the sale of our father's house. He fought it. Told the court it would make him homeless. That it wasn't fair. But fairness left the moment he sold Mom's wedding ring. The house went on the market and sold fast. Half of the proceeds should have been his. But instead, a huge chunk went to paying me back. For what he stole. For what he destroyed. For what I'll never recover. A small grace. We found 2 of Dad's watches and a guitar in a local pawn shop. I got them back. Just a piece of the past, but better than nothing. My brother and I haven't spoken since. The only message I ever got was a bitter text. Hope you're happy you won. I didn't reply. Because I didn't win. I lost my dad. And I lost my brother, too. Studio microphone, he locked me out, thinking I'd give up. But I didn't walk away. I fought, for my parents' legacy. For what was rightfully mine. And I'd do it again.